Chapter 7. The Playbook of Resistance. Why the Industry Still Stands. The moment of truth. That wasn't. The truth was out. Victor Dinoble had stood before Congress. He had described the secret lab, the rats, the data, the order to destroy everything. The public saw the industry for what it was, liars and profiteers. You might have thought, this is it. Now they will be shut down. They were not. The industry did not disappear. It did not apologize. It did not stop selling. How? The answer is not a conspiracy. It is a playbook, a set of strategies written over decades, tested, refined, paid for with billions of dollars. Here is how they stay alive. Strategy 1. The lobbying machine. The first line of defense is not a product. It is a person in a suit, standing in a hallway, waiting to speak to a politician. The tobacco industry spends hundreds of millions of dollars on lobbying. They hire former government officials. They fund think tanks. They show up at every meeting. In the European Union alone, between 2023 and 2025, tobacco lobbyists held 257 recorded meetings with members of parliament. One company, Philip Morris International, accounted for 121 of those meetings. To understand what this means, compare it to the other side. The Smoke-Free Partnership, representing almost 60 public health organizations, had only 12 meetings during the same period. The industry does not just have a seat at the table. It has multiple seats, at multiple tables, in multiple rooms, all at the same time. And those are only the declared meetings. Freedom of Information requests revealed many more undisclosed contacts. This is not illegal. It is not a scandal. It is simply how power works. And the industry is very, very good at it. Strategy 2. The price of access. This level of access costs money. The 4 largest tobacco companies spend an estimated 10 million euros per year on lobbying in the European Union alone. Across the United States, Asia, Africa, and the rest of the world, the numbers are staggering. They employ at least 139 people whose only job is to influence policymakers. In 2025 alone, they participated in over 58 public consultations and submitted comments on 56 policy roadmaps. They are everywhere. They never stop. And they are very patient. Strategy 3. The harm reduction narrative. When regulators began to win against cigarettes, the industry reinvented itself. They introduced e-cigarettes, heated tobacco, nicotine pouches, each Shinchonfing marketed with the same promise. This is safer. This is harm reduction. We are helping smokers quit. They funded their own research. They created front groups with friendly names. They built a narrative that made them look like part of the solution, not the problem. But look closely. The marketing uses bright colors and sweet flavors. The advertisements target young people on social media. The safer claim is based on studies they designed themselves. The industry is not trying to end smoking. It is trying to end cigarettes, while keeping everyone hooked on nicotine through new products. Strategy 4. Trade agreements as weapons. Here is a tactic most people never see. When a country tries to protect its citizens with strong tobacco laws, the industry fights back. But not directly. They use trade agreements. They frame public health laws as barriers to trade. They pressure governments through international negotiations. They ask one country to pressure another. Internal documents show Philip Morris asking European trade officials to challenge Turkey's tobacco laws. They asked whether India's ban on heated tobacco could be raised during trade talks. They portrayed bans in Singapore, Mexico, and Brazil as unfair restrictions on free trade. Think about that. A tobacco company, using the diplomatic power of one of the world's largest economic blocs, tries to weaken health laws in other countries. All behind closed doors. All in the name of free trade. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is documented fact. The global toll. While they play these games, people die. The tobacco industry caused 100 million deaths in the 20th century. In the past 30 years, it has caused more than 200 million deaths. In 2021 alone, 7.3 million people died from smoking-related diseases, more than 10% of all deaths worldwide. If nothing changes, this century will see more than 1 billion deaths from tobacco. The cost is not just lives. It is money, healthcare, lost productivity, deforestation, pollution, billions and billions drained from families and governments. And almost 40% of that cost now falls on low-income and middle-income countries, nations that can least afford it. The world fights back. In 2003, the world tried to fight back. The WHO Framework Convention on Tobacco Control, FCTC, was adopted. It is a legally binding treaty. 183 countries have signed it, covering more than 90% of the world's population. The treaty includes Article 5.3, which requires governments to protect public health policies from tobacco industry interference. To help countries implement it, WHO created the Power Package. Monitor tobacco use. Protect people from smoke. Offer help to quit. Warn about the dangers. Enforce bans on advertising. Raise taxes on tobacco. Progress has been made. In 2007, only 1 billion people were protected by at least one power measure. Today, that number exceeds 6.1 billion, 3/4 of the world's population. For countries, Brazil, Mauritius, the Netherlands, and Turkey have fully implemented the framework. The gaps, but the victories are patchy. 40 countries still have no major tobacco control laws. More than 30 allow cigarette sales without any health warnings. Only 1/3 of the world's population has access to help quitting. Taxation, the most proven deterrent, remains underused. Only 3 countries have raised tobacco taxes to best practice levels since 2022. Cigarettes are as affordable as ever in 134 countries. Secondhand smoke kills 1.3 million people each year. Yet only 1/3 of the world's population is protected by comprehensive smoke-free laws. And new products are outpacing regulation. The number of countries with e-cigarette laws has risen from 122 to 133 in 2 years. But over 60 countries still have no laws at all. The hypocrisy. There is a bitter irony here. When the industry lobbies governments, they call it democracy. When public health advocates ask for regulation, the industry calls it interference. They say tobacco is a legal product, that adults have a right to choose, that excluding them from policy debates is unfair. But no other industry sells a product that, when used exactly as intended, kills half of its long-term users. As one health analyst put it, if the tobacco industry was made to pay for the full scale of these costs, they would no longer be in business. The unanswered question: so why does the industry still stand? Not because governments are evil, not because politicians are corrupt, because the industry is very, very good at what it does. They have money. They have patience. They have a playbook written over 100 years. They adapt. They reinvent. They never stop. But they are not invincible. Countries like Brazil, Mauritius, the Netherlands, and Turkey have shown what is possible. The UK's tobacco-free generation proposal, banning cigarette sales to anyone born after 2009, shows what real courage looks like. The tools exist. The evidence exists. The treaties exist. What is missing is not power. It is will. Your role. Victor Dinoble did his part. He told the truth. He risked everything. Now it is your turn. Not to march. Not to protest. Just to know. Just to see clearly. Just to refuse to be a victim of a system built to keep you trapped. The industry will not stop itself. It will not regulate itself. It will not voluntarily sell fewer products. That responsibility falls to us. To citizens. To voters. To anyone who has lost someone to a smoking-related disease. The question is not whether we can shut them down. The question is whether we have the courage to try. End of Chapter 7.